Hello, welcome to Storytime for Kids. Today we're going to read a beautiful book about Christmas. And I've been actually working on this selection of books for a while because this is my favorite holiday for sure. So I hope you enjoy it. And if you want to listen to more books about Christmas, please check the description below because I've created a playlist full of books about Christmas and the holidays. Okay, I hope you enjoy it and Merry Christmas! Today we're going to read Donald Duck's Christmas Tree, and I hope you like this book. It's very nice. It was the night before Christmas, and Donald Duck was getting ready for the big day. The stockings were hung by the chimney, and he had wrapped all the presents for his nephews, Huey, Dewey, and Louie. Donald had just finished decorating a hot batch of gingerbread cookies when he remembered something. He still needed to get a real Christmas tree. Donald put on his coat, cap, and mittens. Then he picked up his shiny axe. He wanted to cut down the best Christmas tree for his nephews. Come along, Pluto, he called. We're going to the woods to find our Christmas tree. Together, they set off into the snowy forest. Meanwhile, deep in the forest, two chipmunks called Chip and Dale lived in a sturdy fir tree. They were also getting ready for Christmas. The chipmunks were very busy decorating a tiny sapling near their home. Suddenly, they heard a noise. Chip and Dale raced back to their tree. Pluto bounded through the forest and began sniffing around their tree. When Donald had caught up with Pluto, he circled the tree and said, "This is just the tree for us." He got out his axe and began chopping. Chop, chop, chop. Poor Chip and Dale were scared and stayed hidden in the treetop. Once the tree had come down, Donald and Pluto headed home, with Donald dragging the fir tree behind him. Up in the branches, the chipmunks sat quietly, enjoying the ride. Once they got home, Donald raced to the cupboard to get out all the decorations. From their hiding place, Chip and Dale looked on curiously. The two chipmunks watched as Donald looped long strings of colorful lights over the branches of the tree. Then Donald began hanging Christmas ornaments. Pluto helped him where he could. After a while, Donald and Pluto stood back and admired their work. "Doesn't that look great?" Donald asked, and Pluto wagged his tail in agreement. Donald went to get the presents to put under the tree. As Donald left the room, Pluto admired the Christmas tree. He loved looking at all the ornaments and lights. Meanwhile, up in the tree, Chip and Dale began dancing on the branches and laughing until their little sides shook at their warped reflections in the ornaments. Pluto noticed the chipmunks in the tree and growled disapprovingly at them, but Chip and Dale didn't care and threw ornaments at Pluto. Pluto managed to catch them in his teeth and paws. Just then, Donald came back. "Pluto!" he cried. "Bad dog!" He thought Pluto had been snatching ornaments from the tree. Pluto barked at the tree, but the chipmunks had disappeared. Sneaky chipmunks! Donald said to Pluto, "Now be good while I bring the rest of the presents." But as soon as Donald left the room again, Chip and Dale appeared. They danced and played with the lights. Suddenly, plunk! Chip's head went through an ornament. Dale laughed so hard as Chip danced around with a big round golden head. But Pluto didn't think it was funny. They were going to spoil Donald's Christmas tree. He growled at the chipmunks, but they wouldn't stop messing around. Pluto leaned back, ready to jump. "Pluto!" Donald cried as he looked around the doorframe. "What is the matter with you? Do you want to ruin the tree?" Pluto spun around to look at the tree, but the chipmunks were out of sight. Poor Pluto couldn't explain.
Donald was about to get really cross when, crash! An ornament smashed on the floor. What's this? Cried Donald. He peered through the branches and spotted Chip and Dale. Donald realized it was the chipmunks who had been making mischief. I'm sorry I blamed you, Pluto, he said. Donald was going to put Chip and Dale outside in the snow when he remembered it was Christmas Eve. He decided to let them stay. So Pluto made friends with Chip and Dale, and the chipmunks apologized. When Huey, Dewey, and Louie came over, they all agreed that this was by far the happiest Christmas Eve they could remember. Of course, they're all together having a good time. The end. Tell me about it. What do you do on Christmas Eve? Well, thank you so much for listening. Merry Christmas, and I will see you soon.